Ahoy!
Welcome to the penultimate episode of Season 4 of Bottom of the Stream. My name is Adam.
And I'm Nick. Welcome, and welcome.
Oh, two and an and. Three and an and. How's it going, Nick?
Yes, good. I'm excited to be here.
Me too, always. We're on the last but one episode of Season 4.
I know.
How crazy is that?
This is our... well, I know we've talked about other films on sort of bonus episodes and obviously a couple of interviews and stuff. But in the stream table list of our 4 seasons, this is number 99. It's our 99th movie.
How mad is that? Did you think when we started that we'd get to 9900 films?
No way.
But we have. We should be well proud of it. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, me too. It's been a wild, sometimes choppy ride on the stream boat.
A crazy couple of years, hasn't it?
But we're not going anywhere. So
no way. We're
keep listening,
sticking around.
And there's always more questionable movies to watch on Netflix.
We're never going to run out of questionable Netflix movies. That's for damn sure. How's your week been?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
I literally don't think anything exciting.
Same.
Since we last spoke.
Same.
I think it's been pretty quiet. I can't even remember what I did last weekend. That seems like a long time ago as well. So,
Fair enough. It's getting tedious, isn't it? 2021, but we're getting there. Won't be long till we're all back together again.
Yeah,
we can start having some real life adventures.
Yeah, we can come and have fun on this show instead. That's fine.
Absolutely, that's what it's
vicariously living through podcasts until we can podcast from the same room. Which
I can't wait for that.
Will be excellent.
Do you know last year's Botscas was the last episode we did together?
Yes. So we're pretty much coming on a year, which is again feels like a long time, but also a short time.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Have you got any Netflix news?
I have. Yes.
Good.
Do you know about Netflix's secret codes?
I've heard of them in the past, yes. I've never used any, but I know they exist.
Me neither. So this is about how, when you're browsing through Netflix, you'll go to your menu on the left and you'll see films, TV shows. You go into films and then you'll have comedy, blockbuster, action, all those sort of subcategories. Well, they are actually broken down even further. And if you access Netflix through a browser, all you have to do is add sort of a 4-digit code, and it will take you to these subcategories, I guess.
Right.
And some of them are really, really interesting. How they've further cut them down.
Okay.
I'm just trying to plug while I try and get the right article up that I was reading earlier. I'm massively failing. Yeah, so if you put in netflix.com/browse/genre/ you can then add in, like I say, these 5-digit codes. For example, if you were looking for a comedy, there are different categories for the following: dark comedies, foreign comedies, late night comedies, mockumentaries, political comedies, screwball comedies, sports comedies, stand-up comedy, teen comedies, satires, romantic comedies, and slapstick comedies.
Wow. That's a lot of different types of comedies.
But I think my favourite might be the horrors.
Oh God, I can imagine. Go on.
Okay. So you've got the main category is horror movies, which obviously you can pretty easily see on your menu. But if you enter the correct code, you could have, so for example, you'd put 8195 at the end, and that would bring you up B horror movies.
Oh, that's right in my wheelhouse.
Other categories under horrors are, I'll take a deep breath.
Go on.
Creature features, cult horror movies, deep sea horror movies, foreign horror movies, horror comedy, monster movies, slasher and serial killer movies, supernatural horror movies, teen screams, vampire horror movies, werewolf horror movies, zombie horror movies, and satanic stories.
Wow. I'd like to know what teen screams is, because surely that's just like slasher movies.
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
I'd imagine they're pretty much the same. That's really interesting. wonder how many people actually use them, though.
Yeah, I don't know. No.
How many people watch Netflix in a browser for a start?
But yeah.
Not many, I wouldn't have thought.
I would have thought definitely not the majority.
No, definitely not.
I mean, I don't know how many, say, independent... What's an experimental movie? Isn't everything an experimental movie? I don't know.
Movies about experiments?
Maybe. So you think that the Discovery would be in there?
Yeah, definitely. Interesting.
And presumably you can be in more than one category. So,
yeah,
for example,
definitely.
We'd find aerials in sci-fi, aliens, and also presumably Middle Eastern movies.
Foreign comedy.
I was quite surprised at the number of subcategories there are. It whiled away 5 minutes for me today, I must say.
It's funny you should mention Netflix categories because it's been in the news this week that they've added a new one.
Oh, okay.
And that's one of the things I'd got written down to mention, so I'm going to seamlessly link into it.
Perfect.
Netflix have added a category this week for movies under 90 minutes long.
Okay.
And it caused a bit of controversy because some people were like, what does the runtime matter if a movie's good? But like you say, they've got so many different subcategories that, they've added this under 90 minutes category.
Maybe you need to leave the house in an hour and 45 minutes. But
you just want to watch a quick film?
Yeah. Give me a quick movie.
Yeah. So I thought it was quite interesting because there's a lot of movies on Netflix that are around or under 90 minutes. And most of the movies we do are around that sort of time period, aren't they? So today's movie, for instance, is just under 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just... It seems like the sweet spot for Netflix movies. So it's interesting that they've recognised that.
There'll be a ton of metrics and research gone into categorising all these, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure there will. Netflix this week have also calculated your carbon footprint from watching video streams.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody's really bored in the Netflix head office. So they have calculated that 1 hour of streaming on Netflix used less than 100 grams of carbon dioxide equivalent, which is less than driving an average car a quarter of a mile.
Oh, okay.
For an hour of Netflix. So it's not actually that bad for your carbon footprint if you're interested about that. I don't know why anybody is or why anybody's even looked into that. But I found that article earlier and thought it was quite humorous, so I thought I'd read that out.
Go green.
Go green with Netflix.
Yeah.
Anything else for anything else?
Yeah. This is quite an interesting one.
Okay.
Over the last couple of weeks, some Netflix users have reported that they're getting a prompt screen when they access their account, and it's asking them, "Is this your account?"
Yes, it is. Thank you. Move on.
And this sort of talk that this could be the first step on Netflix trying to crack down on shared accounts. So that'll be an interesting one to see.
It is interesting because the CEO a few years ago said that it didn't bother him in the slightest. So it's interesting if they are going to start cracking down on it, if maybe competitors are causing some issues with them, maybe. They've got more competition in the market than they did back then.
Exactly. There was no Disney Plus back then.
Exactly. It's interesting.
So yeah.
I can't see how they can police, unless they're going to start monitoring IPs and stuff. I don't see how they can police it properly. But it is interesting to see if they are going to start clamping down on it.
Sure. Have you got any more?
I've got 2 trailers that have released this week, if you want me to mention them.
Sure.
The Concrete Cowboy trailer's out.
Oh, I'll check that out.
With Idris Elba and Caleb McLaughlin.
Yeah.
It's really good. The trailer looks really good. It's a good trailer. I obviously don't know how good the film's going to be, but it looks quite good from the trailer. That's coming on April the 2nd. And there's also a trailer that's dropped in the last couple of days for a film called Love and Monsters. Have you heard of this?
No, what's that about?
It's post-apocalyptic film about the world after monsters took over and annihilated the human race.
Oh, so my interest is piqued.
It follows the last few surviving members of the human race as one. It's about a young teen boy who's trying to get across the country to meet up with his teen girlfriend who's also survived, and he has to battle monsters whilst on his way. And the trailer's really good for that as well. If you want to check it out, it's called Love and Monsters. That's coming on April the 15th.
Excellent.
It's Dylan. What's his? Oh, I've started his name now, and I don't even know his surname.
You always do this.
I do. I'm terrible for it. Bear with. Dylan. Dylan from the Maze Runner films. What's his name?
I've never seen this.
Dylan O'Brien.
I'm none
the wiser, right?
No.
Yeah, he was from the Maze Runner films anyway.
Cool. I've got a couple more.
Cool.
Netflix have paid $20 million to buy from Miramax He's All That.
Oh, right, okay.
Is a gender-flipped remake of She's All That.
You don't say.
And that will be gracing your screens this year.
That's Tanner Buchanan, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Off of Cobra Kai?
Yeah.
I remember we talked about it a few weeks ago, I think, or a while back.
Possibly it was on that huge long list of movies.
Possibly. When's that coming?
Well, they've not said, but yeah, 20 million they've paid for it as it's come out this week. Was the fee?
So does that mean they're going to brand it as a Netflix original?
I would assume so.
I assume so, yeah. Interesting. Because it's got somebody from Cobra Kai and we're like, we'll have that.
It's brand synergy, I guess, isn't it?
Absolutely. The only other thing I've got, have you got any more news? Because I've got something
I've got one more.
News. Go on then.
The Irregulars arrives on the 26th of March. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for that.
I have not. What is that?
So it's a series following... are you familiar with the Sherlock Holmes stories much?
I know who Sherlock Holmes is.
Yeah, that's a good start.
I've never read any, but I've seen films and shit.
So quite often in the stories, it doesn't lean on it quite as much in many of the adaptations, but he uses like a network of urchin kids to sort of do a lot of his spying and running around. And the series The Irregulars that's coming to Netflix is focused on these kids.
Oh, right, okay.
And I believe...
They're like his citywide informants.
Yeah, Holmes and Watson are sort of background players in the series, I believe. It arrives on the 26th of March.
Yeah,
and
that's really soon.
It has already been greenlit for Series 2.
Oh, wow. Must be happy with it then. Yeah,
which is quite interesting. So no one's seen anything of it yet, and it's already greenlit for a second season. So
interesting. I'm in the market for a new TV show, so that could be quite interesting. That's really
there you go.
As well.
If you can wait 10 days or so, maybe that's the one for you.
Maybe. Talking of stuff that's coming in April, I've got a list.
Oh, look, I love a list. You know that.
You love a list. We both love a list. I've got a list of stuff that's coming to Netflix UK on April the 1st.
Hit me.
I'm not going to read them all because there's a lot, but I'm going to just pick out things that I've heard of. First one coming on April the 1st is Castaway with Tom Hanks.
Yep.
Collateral's coming as well. That's a good film.
That is a good movie.
Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx?
It's Tom Cruise in a terrible grey crew cut, isn't it?
Yeah. One I'm really excited about because I used to absolutely love this film and I can't wait to watch it again. Death Becomes Her is coming on the 1st of April.
Okay, that's it's a classic.
It's an absolute classic and I'm really looking forward to seeing it again. Out of Time is coming. Do you remember that?
What's that? I'm not sure from the title, no.
It says a police chief is left in hot water when money from a drug raid is stolen and the mistress is found dead. It's a race against time to prove his innocence before the FBI catch him.
No, don't know
the name's familiar, but I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting mixed up with something else. Shrek's coming.
Your dad will be very happy.
He will. It's his favourite film. It's my dad's favourite film. Do you know what else is coming? Shrek 2 and Shrek the Musical. Also, they're all coming on April the 1st. We're Shrekking up. They Live is coming to Netflix.
Yeah, I've not seen that for years.
No, not me.
Good movie.
Time Traveller's Wife.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
I've seen it. I think it's quite good. Twister's coming.
Oh, I've not seen that for years. I don't know how well it holds up, but
I haven't seen it for years either. But that's all coming on one day on April the 1st.
That's got to be like 25 years old now, I bet.
Twister is 96. Oh,
yes.
Bang on. Later in the month, we have got Thunder Force is coming. Obviously, that's that new superhero film we were talking about the other week.
Sure.
A Star is Born is coming with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Oh, you're a lookalike.
Apparently so. Although it's getting so long now, I was starting to look like an 80s darts player.
Oh, not Lady Gaga.
Not Lady Gaga. I think that's it. I think that's the highlights of what's coming this month, next month. But there's a lot of good stuff coming again. I'm looking forward to seeing Death Becomes Her again. I'm definitely going to sit and watch that.
Cool.
It's a classic.
Good info. Thank
you. Have you got anything else to talk about? Have you watched anything good at the top of the stream?
I haven't watched much this week.
You know, I want to say to you, I think Netflix is really dry at the minute. I haven't wanted to watch anything for ages. I haven't seen anything on there. I really want to watch that.
I don't feel that there's been any sort of big deal releases for a few weeks either.
It doesn't feel like it, does it? It's dried up a little bit. There's a lot of good stuff coming, as we've just said, but just recently, doesn't seem to be much about.
Yeah, and there's obviously been loads of focus on, WandaVision on Disney Plus, and then we've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier starting this week as well.
Yeah.
So they've definitely taken some of the headlines away.
Yeah, and things like Your Honor as well on Sky and I think it's HBO or CBS in America.
Sure.
That's taken a lot. I finished that earlier this week and would highly recommend it.
Okay, that's good.
Also, I did watch something. I watched Cherry, which is Tom Holland's new film on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Really good. I highly recommend that. Yeah, it was really good. Although it is on for 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Oh. Which
is very long for me. That puts me off.
Do you always check the length of a movie before you watch it?
Pretty much. I actually do. I'd started this one before I did. And I'm like, oh, that's a long time because it's 9 o'clock. So we're talking nearly 11:30 by the time this film's going to be finished.
How's your opinion changed on that then? Because you wouldn't, obviously, prior to the last year, you're a frequent cinema goer, and that wouldn't put you off for...
No, it wouldn't. But when I'm at the cinema has my full attention.
Okay.
When I'm at home, it doesn't. So I find watching longer films at home harder. Does that make sense?
Yes, because you want to talk to your friends or pick up your phone or...
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I don't do that in the cinema. Or I always feel like there's something else I should be doing when I'm at home. Tom Holland has a pass for me that pretty much I'm just going to watch whatever he's in. So when I saw how long it was, I nearly turned it off, and then I thought there's no point because I'm going to watch this film at some point.
Yeah, plus if you're already 10 minutes in, then you...
I was like 2 minutes in. But I was like, I'm going to watch this film at some point. Tom Holland's in it, I watch everything he's in. So I might as well just watch it now. And it flew by. It's really good. It's really well made. It's definitely worth checking out.
Good.
They're both really good. The girl in it as well was really good.
You know what I always say? Length doesn't matter as long as you know what to do with it.
It's very true. I've been telling people that for years.
And, we've seen some 90-minute long films that felt like they were 2.5 hours long.
Absolutely. So it's made me think now maybe I could sit and watch The Irishman.
I think you could.
So maybe I'll do that at some point. Do you know what I'm not going to do?
You could. I know what you're going to say. Because I was just going to say you could do a double header.
No, I am not sitting for 4 hours and watching Zack Snyder's Vanity Project, which I think is what it's called.
I think it's like 4 hours and 20 minutes, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's over 4 hours long. And it's not even filmed in the right aspect ratio.
I did see this today.
It's filmed as if you want to watch it on an old 90s TV. I'm not watching it. I'm just not. I'm protesting against it. One man protest. Silent protest.
Would you have watched it if they'd have released Justice League as the initial rumour was they were going to do it episodically?
Yes, probably.
So if they'd done 4 hour and 5 minute episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably would have.
That's interesting.
The 4 hour runtime is a big no. No way am I doing that. What's annoying me the most about it is people are saying, oh, this is the film he would have released. It's not. There's no way you would have released a 4 hour film.
No.
It's just isn't. It's a vanity project, 100%. It might be brilliant. It probably is brilliant, but I'm not watching it. It's as simple as that.
If you watch it, anyone listening, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know if it's any good, and then we won't have to watch it. Sorry, I've been ranting about that all day to people.
It's fine. One thing I have watched this week, last weekend, really random. The old Netflix shuffle button couldn't have chosen a better Saturday night movie.
You used the shuffle button?
No, didn't. But we were looking through for that long. We should have done. Yeah. What's The Escape Plan, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone?
Wow. Why?
Just because it was about 9:30 on Saturday. Wanted something stupid. Saw that they were in it, and it was. I think it's from 2013.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
The tagline is basically, it's Stallone. He designs maximum security prisons, but now he's got to break out of one. And
obviously,
Arnie's an inmate there as well. And the twist halfway through, it turns out they're not in a prison; they're on a boat. I was like,
this sounds familiar. Sounds awfully familiar.
We've watched a movie like this on this show.
We have indeed.
Except the one we saw starred Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it was an absolute pile of horseshit.
It was.
Yeah, it was
Blackwater?
Blackwater, yeah.
Who'd
The
have thought
Escape Plan was a lot more fun.
Was it? Was it better?
Yeah. Yes.
Good.
So much so, there's a sequel, I found out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but Arnie didn't come back for it.
Stallone did?
Stallone and Dave Bautista.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure at some point I'm going to watch it. So
yeah, definitely.
I'll let you know.
You've got it now. Is it on Netflix? Was the first one on Netflix?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Oh, cool. At least you're watching something on Netflix.
Well,
a whole podcast on Netflix,
this
and
movie.
I've not watched anything for weeks other than the movies that we're talking about.
Well, there you go.
But hopefully good stuff's coming. I'm definitely going to watch that one you just mentioned that I've forgotten. The one about the Sherlock Holmes kids. The leftovers.
The Irregulars.
The Irregulars, that's it. Also, I wanted to mention to you, the last blockbuster hasn't appeared.
Oh, was it not?
No. I don't know if it was only going into America. But I've tried to Google it today to find out what's going on. And it is not on there.
Do you know what, though?
And I can't find any information on it.
I think there might be a few shenanigans going on, because a few weeks ago, it might have been about this time last month when it was one of the last times we did, here's this bunch of movies that are coming to Netflix.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying the Tenacious D movie was coming. And I said, I've never watched that. I've always wanted to. I've never got around to it. And I've been looking for that the last week or so, and it's not on there either.
Really interesting.
So
when I do Google those, when I do get those lists up, I always make sure it's Netflix UK.
Yeah, exactly.
The one I've just read out is their Netflix UK list.
And
I think things just must change at the last minute.
Things, I guess deals can fall through and that sort of thing. So yeah. The
last blockbuster was
not unheard of.
Was supposed to be coming this Monday just gone.
That's right. Yeah.
A documentary about the last blockbuster video store. It is available on Amazon Prime, but not on Prime. You have to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
So I thought it was really interesting. I went to watch it the other night. I'd got a spare hour. I thought, I'll watch that. It wasn't there.
Yeah, it was definitely on a Netflix page that I read. So yeah,
it is on American Netflix. So whether something's fallen through in the UK or whether whoever we found the news from had got the wrong end of the stick, I don't know. But unfortunately, that didn't make it.
We'll keep our eyes open and we'll update you.
Definitely. Anything else you want to talk about?
I've got a little game if you want to play a game.
Cool, let's do it.
Excellent. I think I'm going to call this one Colourblind. And it's a bit different to games we've played before. The movie we're watching this week is called White Girl.
Correct.
So let's have a little challenge. Me versus you.
Oh.
We'll go back and forth. No hesitations allowed. How many movies can we name with a colour in?
Oh, God. Really? I'm going to be awful at this. Already can't think of any.
I told you it was a bit different.
Oh, no. I feel like I'm going to be awful.
Would you like to start? I'll give you the gentleman's... Oh, okay, fine. Would you like me to start?
Yes.
I'll go first then. No problem. Right. The Green Mile.
Red.
No, Legally blonde.
Blonde's not a colour.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yellow submarine.
Say again.
Yellow submarine.
Oh, yeah. You dropped out there. It wasn't a pause. Deep blue sea.
Oh, no. Told you it'd be terrible. Red 2.
Men in Black.
Men in Black 2.
Men in Black 3.
Green Room.
Black Hawk Down. I've got stuck on black.
Can't think of any colours. Oh, this is horrendous. This is the most stressful thing that's ever happened to me. White Girl.
White Chicks.
Oh, no way. Black Beauty.
Clockwork Orange.
Oh no, stop it.
We talked about one before we even started this charade. It's got Jean-Claude Van Damme in it.
Blackwater.
Yeah.
Why does my brain just not work?
James and the Giant Peach.
What?
Peach. Peach is a colour.
Is it balls, man?
It is.
Why does my brain not work, Nick?
Should we call it an honourable draw?
Yeah, I literally can't think of any colours, let alone film colours.
I enjoyed that.
That was quite good fun. All the way through, we're just going to shout random film names at each other.
That's fine.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. It was stressful. You made me stress out. I wasn't expecting it. I hadn't prepared.
Snow White.
Oh, good one. People are going to be screaming film names at their podcast players as well.
That's fine.
Right,
add some fun to their commute or whatever.
Shall we move on and talk about this week's film?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okie dokie. This week we watched a film called White Girl. White Girl is from 2016. It is an 18. It runs for 1 hour and 28 minutes. Currently rated at 5.7 on IMDb. Stars a girl called Morgan Saylor, who plays a character called Leah. Most famous probably she was in Homeland with Adrian... What's his name? Not Adrian Brody, that was his name in the show. Damian Lewis. Did you ever watch Homeland?
No, but
Terrible
I've got a
show.
Damian Lewis story.
Have you?
Yeah. When my sister was... I'm sure it was when my sister was at college. He came and she was like in a bookshop or looking at a DVD and he was on the cover.
Yeah.
And someone then put their hands over her eyes.
Right.
And she turned around, it was him.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's well creepy.
Yeah, it's a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
That would be really weird as well, to turn around and you're like holding a book with him on the cover.
Yeah.
Homeland was a hot garbage show. Don't ever watch it.
I thought that the general consensus on it was that it was good for the first season.
Yeah, well, the general consensus was, but that was wrong.
Oh, okay.
I hated it. I've watched it for about 3 seasons and hated every single one. I don't know why I stuck with it. I'm not a big Damian Lewis fan.
Didn't it do like 10 years?
Yeah, it did go on for ages. I think it might have only just finished. But anyway, she was in that for a little while. She played his daughter. Also stars a guy called Brian Mark, who plays a character called Blue. You might know him if you've seen the Dave Franco movie Nerve, which I randomly have. And it's really good. And he's also in 9 episodes of The Good Doctor with Freddie Highmore.
Okay.
I know a few people watch that. And also stars Justin... I think his name's Justin Bartha. Is that how you pronounce it? He plays Kelly. Most famous for playing Doug in the Hangover movies.
Yeah, i.e. the guy who wasn't in them.
Yeah, basically. And also quite famous for playing Riley in the National Treasure movies with Nicolas Cage. I think that's
questionable facial hair in this one, didn't he?
Horrendous facial hair.
He had like a chin beard, but it was like under his chin.
It was horrendous.
And that was it.
Written and directed by a lady called Elizabeth Wood. She hasn't really done anything before or since, but she does class this film as semi-autobiographical.
Okay.
Based on her own journals, apparently. Do you have a 1-word review of White Girl?
Sex.
Yeah, you can't say anything more, can you?
Equally, I could have chose drugs.
Yeah, and rock and roll.
It's more sex and drugs and EDM, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely is. Before we start, I should have just looked at this. I've made a bit of a list as well. How many films on Netflix do you think start with the word white?
7.
11.
Oh, wow, it's not a bad guess.
I've listed them. You've got White Chicks, White Collar, White Chapel, White Lines,
Hang on.
White... What?
Hang on, we've just played a game
I know. I've just realised now. I'd forgotten I'd done it. I just turned the page.
where you have to list movies with the colour in, and you've got a list of 11.
Yeah. Some of them are
You're a
TV
moron.
shows, to be fair. I am a moron. That is a fact. I'd forgotten I'd done this, to be fair. I'd just turned the page. I was like, oh, no. Anyway, White Chicks.
Brilliant.
White Collar, White Chapel, White Lines, White Gold, White Tiger, White Teeth, White House Down, no, White House Farm, White Boy Rick, White Fang, White Girl, and White Boy. All available on Netflix. It's a popular colour on Netflix, white. Where does this film...
Are you making some sort of profound
No, it really wasn't.
socio-political point? Or...
When have you ever known me to be any sort of profound? Where does this film start, Nick?
It's Moving Day.
It is Moving Day.
And there are 2 girls moving into a neighbourhood of... We are in New York, aren't we?
Brooklyn, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Before we start, I've got really hardly any pages of notes on this. I don't think we're going to talk about this for very long.
I think there's a lot to talk about, but there wasn't necessarily much to note down.
Yeah, there's not a lot there's a lot going on, but not a lot that you can like one line for 10 minutes of action. It's by far the lowest amount of notes I've ever made.
Yeah, no, obviously we'll get into this. In terms of sort of story and narrative points, it's a fairly simple setup.
Yes, it is, yeah.
But we'll get into that. Yeah, I'm not surprised you've not got many notes.
Yeah, I have not. So, yeah, you've got 2 girls moving into a Brooklyn apartment. There's 3 boys watching from the street. They look like they spend their lives just hanging out on this street corner.
Yeah.
They don't offer to help. They just watch. Then they start to get high. These 2 girls, this is your first drug scene. I'm not going to list all the drug scenes because the whole film is a drug scene.
Yeah, they're doing some drugs in their bras.
Yeah. I already can't read this writing in my notes. So the third line.
So my third line is so at this point I don't know their names. So we have one of the girls is a redhead, one of them is a blonde girl, and I've just put the blonde girl is going to work. Yeah,
that's what my line says, so I can't read it. It says boring work montage for Leah. So Leah is your blonde girl and Katie is your ginger girl or redhead girl.
That's right.
She comes home from work, she gets high with all her mates. There's like a few lads there, Katie's there. They're all just doing drugs in the apartment. And they run out of drugs. So she says, right, I'm going to go and ask those 3 lads that are standing on the corner if they know where I can get some weed from.
Sure.
And they basically say, no, we've got no idea where you can get some weed from. Are you stereotyping us? What are you doing? And basically shout it down, don't they?
This is where we meet Blue.
Yes.
And he says to her, yeah, you can't ask strangers that.
Yeah, especially here in this sort of area.
You know, so basically saying someone who looks like you shouldn't be out here asking us, people who look like us, things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was quite struck by this guy straight away. I'll go straight there right at the start. I thought he was the best thing about this.
100%. I think I've written that further down. He's a highlight of this film. Was? Brian Mark.
So I've said for a few weeks that I'd like to see a movie with a really great performance in. I think this might be as close as we get to that this season. Is the one we get from him.
Yeah, he is really good from the start to finish, because you get this idea of who you think he's going to be, and he is not that character in the slightest.
It was probably the best written character as well. That he has layers. I
think.
He does.
He does. Indeed.
Which is not maybe necessarily something we see with Leah, but yeah, we'll get into that.
I don't know, you see quite a lot of her layers. Next day, she goes to work. Her boss is Justin Bartha's character, Kelly. He invites her into his office and they do some coke.
Sure.
Together, because this is like a laid-back, chilled, arty office.
So bean bags and coke.
Yeah, basically. Then they have a kiss. Then they do quite a lot more than kiss.
As you would say, she goes south.
When have I ever said that?
You said it when we were doing Love, Simon.
Did I?
Not Love, Simon. What was the film? Yeah,
Alex
Strangelove. Alex Strangelove, that was it.
Did I say that? Wow, that doesn't sound like me. Anyway, yeah, she does. She goes south quite quickly on him. Quite quickly in more ways than one. She's very speedy at what she's doing. And suddenly they get interrupted by a knock at the door. It's Kelly's assistant. So they quickly get dressed and they don't get caught. And he sends her back.
But she totally knows what's
going on. Of course she does.
She's like, oh yeah, here's another one.
Yeah. So he sends her back to work. That's the end of that working day. Because later on that day, she's in the local shop buying some booze. And she bumps into Blue. She says to him, why do they call you Blue? And he says, it's because I'm always sad until I met you.
That was great.
That's a line. That's a great chat-up line, and it fucking worked as well. So she takes him home. Katie is not happy about this because she doesn't know this guy, and he's now in her flat. So
she's like, who's this schmuck you've brought?
Yeah, she's quite worried. She's quite worried she's going to get robbed. But she ends up going out and leaving them there, or going to her room and leaving them there. And then his mates show up.
Yeah.
They can hear them voices at the bottom of the fire escape. They climb the fire escape to get into the apartment. I didn't catch either of their names, and I think one was called Kilo,
and then I'm not sure what the third guy was.
No, nor me. Katie wasn't happy about this, but it doesn't take her long to come around because in the next scene, the 3 lads and 2 girls are all doing drugs together in the apartment. Katie's mellowed quite a lot because Kilo's now sitting on her lap and they're doing drugs together. Liam mentions that she wants to move on to some harder drugs because they're only doing weed. Blue doesn't like that. He actually leaves. He walks out, doesn't he, when she suggests it?
Yeah, and he is a drug dealer of principles.
Yes.
Because he says, effectively, I can get whatever you want. Yeah. But just know that I do not hang around or associate with anyone who does that.
That's exactly what he says. She follows him. He's gone up to the roof, and she follows him up to the roof. And he says, "I sell it, but I don't fuck with people who do it." That's his line.
Yeah. He says, "I don't do it, and I don't fuck with people who do it."
But then he does fuck Leah.
Yeah.
On the roof.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this sort of stuff going on in this film.
This is it's what that Robson and Jerome song was about, wasn't it? It was about
what?
Fucking up on the roof.
Up on the roof. That one.
Yeah, that one.
Was it? Is that what it was? Is that what it was about?
Yeah.
Well, Robson and Jerome were definitely at it, so you're probably right.
Well, with each other, that is an allegation.
I did not make that allegation. You made that in your own head.
Okay, fine.
Next day at work, Kelly insists that Leah attends this. Like they've got some sort of work social event going on that night. Because she's designing. She's some sort of designer. She does some sort of. You don't really find out what she does, but she's some sort of designs, and she's doing the guest list.
She's got an internship at this magazine.
Yeah.
Was
it a magazine?
Literally all. Yeah,
okay,
it comes up a bit later. That's literally all the info we get.
Yeah, so she's making this guest list for this event that's happening in the city tonight. So presumably they're going to Manhattan, and he insists that she goes. She doesn't want to go. She says, "I've just moved house. I don't want to be going to big events yet." He insists that she does. She agrees to go, and she invites Blue. She says, well, when she gets home, he says to her, the first thing he says to her when she gets home that day, Blue, because he's sitting on the doorstep, and he says, "Have you got a fella? Have you got a man?
Yeah.
Because I really like you, and I'm going to take care of you." And then from that point on, they're just together. That's how he got into that relationship with her.
Like you say, he says he likes her. He sort of takes her on his rounds.
Yeah.
So he's making some deals. She's a company limit, and then he even takes her home to his grandma.
He does, yeah. He lives with an ill grandma, and they go into his bedroom, do a bit more drugs, and that's where she asks him if he wants to come to this party.
Yeah, well, she actually gives him some business tips because he's bagging up some of the product.
Yeah,
and she says, you're selling this for 20. You could sell this for 60.
Yeah.
And then as you say, she invites him to come to the party, and it basically says you could get rid of all of this tonight with these people I work with.
But he doesn't want to go. He's like,
he doesn't want to leave his
street
patch.
corner. Yeah, it's his patch. He says he doesn't fuck around in the city. He doesn't go into the city. he has no reason to go in, and he doesn't want to change that. But in the next scene, they do all go. They're driving there. So they all go. So Katie goes as well, and Blue's two friends, Kilo and random other dude. As soon as they get there, Blue starts selling drugs, and he sells some to Kelly, who's the boss man. That triggers kind of a partying, drug taking, sex montage for the next 10 minutes, doesn't it?
Yeah. So this magazine has hired out this bar. It is just. There's Coke on every table. Yeah. It's just debauched, isn't it?
It really is. There's a lot of shit going down. And it goes on all the way to daylight, because the next time we see them all, they're heading back in a taxi. Or
Kilo's going down.
Indeed. Quite literally.
In this montage.
Yeah.
With Katie.
Yeah. Standing up in the bar as well, weren't they? But yeah, so they go, is it a taxi? Yeah, it was a taxi, I think, at this point. Or was somebody driving?
It's just another one of his mates, I think.
Because there was a point where there was a taxi, and I'm getting confused. Yeah, because they drop Katie off at work, don't they?
Yeah, it turns out she's a teacher.
She's a teacher, or she works in a school, and she gets out this car outside the school while all the kids are going in, and just throws up in a bush. And it's not a good look, so Leah gets out to try and help her.
And then just pushes her in through the door.
And then,
maybe you should take the day off.
Just go to work.
Yeah. Go and teach those kids.
Blue has some sort of disagreement with his friends.
I was totally bypassed by what they were arguing about.
I think they had some sort of argument. I don't know what it was about. There was a lot of very fast talking going on, and a lot of shouting. And I was trying to watch Katie and Leah as well. There was a lot of shit going down. And he eventually kicks his mates out of the car, and it ends up with just him and Leah in the car.
And his associate driving them.
Yeah, because they start having sex in the car, doing the naughty in the car. And I've written here, not sure who's driving, but someone is.
Yeah.
This car stops at... He's got a meeting. He's going to go and meet somebody. Because it's quite obvious he needs more drugs because he's sold out of his supply.
And that's exactly it. So they've gone to visit Blue's supplier.
Yes. So he goes in, he tells Leah to wait in the car. Leah's a strong, independent woman. She doesn't wait in the car. She goes and sits.
It's a nice day outside.
Yeah, she goes and sits outside on the steps. And eventually, Blue comes out and he's like, "Look, this guy wants to meet you. You need to come in." So she does go in, and she does some drugs with the dealer guy, who I think was called Lloyd.
I'd recognise this guy.
Do you?
Yeah, I know, and I meant to look, and I didn't. So you carry on talking, and I'll.
Okay, cool.
I'll have a look.
So Blue has got it in his head now that he can sell a lot more drugs than he normally does, because he's found this new patch of Leah's rich friends. So he says to Lloyd, "Look, I need you to sell me like a lot of coke, and I'll give you the money back after I've sold it." So he's basically taking out a loan from this guy.
Yeah.
Which Lloyd obviously agrees to do. It doesn't bother him. He's going to either get his money or he's get his drugs back. And so he does buy, I think it's 10 ounces. It was a lot.
I thought you bought okay, it was a lot. I thought he bought a kilogram.
It was. They divide it into 10 something, but I don't know. I don't do drugs. I don't know the colloquialisms or how to say colloquialism. So they go, once they've got these drugs, they leave Lloyd's house and they go and celebrate. They go to a cafe, and one of Blue's regular customers starts knocking on the window of this cafe. And he obviously wants to buy some drugs. So Blue goes out to see what the hell's going on, what his problem is, and leaves the drugs in the cafe with Leah. Quite quickly, as soon as he's gone outside, it turns out this guy is an undercover cop, and Blue gets arrested. Yeah. But the drugs are still with Leah.
Yeah, so fortunately he put the big package. he whapped it down on the table.
He put his big package down.
Yeah. The guy who played Lloyd's been in loads of stuff. He's just one of those faces. Yeah, he was in He's been in Curb Your Enthusiasm, Gotham, Flight of the Conchords, Law and Order.
Oh wow!
And then movies. He was in Office Christmas Party. I've seen that. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, American Hustle, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Tons and tons of stuff.
What's his name?
His name is Adrian Martinez.
Cool. Where were we? Oh yeah, so Blue's now in prison. The film cuts forward a little bit in time, I believe. Because in the very next scene, she's going to visit him in jail.
Correct.
And he thinks he's been done for a lot worse a crime than he has been done for, because he thinks the police found the big pack of drugs that he had. And he's like, no, I've got that. They didn't know about that. So that's good news. Because he's not going down for as long as he thought.
It is very much a good news, bad news. Yeah. Because he then kind of reveals the minor detail that this is actually his third strike.
Yeah, so he's kind of fucked.
So he is absolutely fucked. Because even if this is, even if what he's been arrested on this time is a really small amount, he's in trouble.
Yeah. So he's like, one thing you do need to do, he says this to Leah, I don't want to get you involved in this shit, but you need to get those drugs back to Lloyd. Because if you don't, he's going to come after you.
So take them back.
Yeah.
No questions
asked. No questions asked, job done. She flashes him a boob at one point during this visit. Just gives one boob out. And then...
You've got away with the words.
I know. That's why I do a podcast. And then they do. Katie and Leah do try to take it back to Lloyd, but they bottle it, because when they get to his house, there's loads of creepy guys around. So they kind of run away, don't they? They don't do it in the end.
They also see the undercover cop.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same guy. So that when they're crossing the road,
yeah,
and Katie says to Leah, "Oh, you've got coke's almost falling out your handbag."
Oh, it's the same guy. I didn't pick that.
They look over the shoulder. I'm sure it is, because it's the same guy that Leah spoke to on the steps as well.
Yeah,
outside.
You're right. Yeah, 100% right. You are. I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't take it back, because obviously that would explain more of why they didn't take it back then. So what she does, she decides she's going to go and see a lawyer, because she wants to try and help Blue get out of prison. The lawyer was the guy from Sex and the City.
Yeah, Mr. Big.
Mr. Big. Not that I've ever watched that show, it's just I recognised the face.
I think he also was in one of these never-ending Law and Order series.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Pretty sure he was. Anyway, I thought he was quite good in this as well.
He was, to be fair, yeah. The lawyer basically says to Leah, "Look, you guys facing probably 5 or more years in prison, but I think I could probably help. Get me the $2,500 retainer, and I'll look into it and see what I can do for you."
Yeah.
So she needs to raise $2,500.
She says, "You'll have it tomorrow."
Yes. So
which
she's back
takes him back a bit.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay. Because Leah does not look like the sort of girl that's got $2,500 and can afford a fancy lawyer.
No.
I don't want to offend the poor girl, but she does not look like that sort of person. However, she does know somebody who likes drugs.
Well, a few people, yeah.
So she heads over to Kelly, her boss, and she tries to sell him the whole block, but he ain't having it.
No.
So she ends up selling him 2 ounces for $3,000.
Yeah.
So
that's a good start.
That's a good start. She's got the $2,500 retainer now already. She goes to Blue's mates, gets them to help her divide the rest of it up so she can sell the rest. And
they start cutting it, like you say, cutting it up, and they're going to head out and sell it.
Yeah.
Between the 4 of them.
And they do. And we get a bit of a montage now of that happening. They go to this club. The 2 lads sit at the bar, giving the 2 girls the drugs, while they go and sell it on the dance floor to the unsuspecting chaps.
Also, all the way through this movie, every time there is a scene of them dividing up the drugs, getting ready to head out, it's the way this is cut is Leah's like, oh, yep, 1 for the bag, one for me.
Yeah.
The amount of drugs she does in this movie
yeah, it's crazy.
Is amazing.
It really is. It's craziness. Also, the 2 lads and Blue, to an extent, were very much out of their depth, and you got that came through completely. They never look comfortable when they're not on their own street corner.
Absolutely.
And they 100% don't want to be there, but they know they've got to do this. And they end up...
She's dragging them along through kind of force of personality, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing this same thing for years and years and years with no issues. Suddenly this girl's came along, their mate's in prison, and they're now in Manhattan trying to sell drugs to rich people. They're well out of their depth, and you can completely see that they're well out of their depth. Both of these guys act it out so well. Eventually this montage ends with them getting kicked out of the club. Kilo takes a punch from the bouncer, and it ends up with them all outside arguing with each other because the lads say, look, this is not us. This is not what we do. We're going home.
We're out.
We're going home. Katie agrees. She's like, yeah, fuck this. I'm done as well. And they kind of leave Leah there.
Yeah.
So she goes it alone. She goes back into the club and she starts selling a few more.
But she is also partying and sampling her own products, shall we say.
She's absolutely mullered by the end of the night. Yeah. She's completely smashed. Somehow she manages to drag herself into a taxi and get herself home.
Yeah.
When she gets there, unfortunately, there's somebody waiting for her, is there not?
Yeah, it is Lloyd.
Lloyd is waiting for her. And he wants his money back. Or his drugs.
This bit was horrible.
It really was. Do you want to talk about what happened?
So he sort of corners her on the stairwell, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a horrible man as well. He's a creepy, big, fat dude.
Yeah.
Not a nice guy.
Sweaty, horrible. Yeah, and he sort of grabs her by the throat, doesn't he, to start with? And sort of, he says, where's my money or where are my drugs?
Yeah.
Because he's heard that Blue's in prison. And she's sort of saying, I don't know where it is. And then he stops choking her and he just pinches her nipple.
He does.
And she's in so much pain. Yeah, it's horrible.
It's not like a playful pinch. No. I've written here, he squeezes her boob really
torturous.
Hard.
Yeah.
He proper just grabbed his fistful of boob and just squeezed it. And then he leaves. He does leave because does he give her more time or he gives her something and she talks him around.
Yeah.
So she goes back to the lawyer, the guy we met earlier, and he's obviously been paid his retainer, so he's looked into what's going on. And he's like, you seem like you've got a good case. Blue seems like he's got a good case.
He says it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. But
there's a few positives for
There's a real chance that we might be able to do something for him, and we've got a sympathetic judge. It's been assigned a sympathetic judge, so this he says could go our way.
He says technically he was busted before he made a sale.
Yeah.
And also, he didn't go into details, but he said he'd uncovered some info on the undercover cop.
Yes.
That suggested he was less than reliable.
Yes, completely. So Leah's really happy by this. She's all excited. She thinks Blue's going to get out of prison. The lawyer's really happy as well. And they have a bit of a hug and a dance and everybody's happy. And then he gives her a bill.
Yeah.
And the bill's for 13 grand.
It sure is.
And that's not good news. She rings her mum. She checks in with her mum at this point. Her mum agrees to send her some money, but it's only $200. It's not going to get very far. Yeah,
so I don't think we've really said, but the whole time period of this movie is pretty short because
definitely.
So the girls have moved into the city because they're preparing to start college.
Yeah.
Which, when you start college, sort of September time.
Yeah.
This is still the summer, so obviously they've moved a few weeks or a couple of months maybe at the most in advance of that. Yeah. So we're talking about a real condensed time period that this is going on at.
Yeah, and you can feel that as well because it does move really quickly and days do pass. You can see days passing with nights and days, but there doesn't appear to be many.
No.
And it does have a high tempo about it, this film. It feels like everything's moving at 100 miles an hour all the time. She goes to visit Blue again in prison, and she says, what did you think of the lawyer? Because he's obviously met him now. And he's like, yeah, he was really good, but there's no way we can afford him. There's no way I can afford to pay that guy. And she lies to him. She tells Blue that the guy's working pro bono, and he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. Which he seems very happy about. For the first time in the whole film, he smiles, because he's not Blue anymore. And he tells her he loves her at this point as well. And she thanks him.
I must say, I was really rooting for them both.
Yeah.
Until things about here started to unravel for me a bit.
Yes, agreed.
Because I didn't like that lie she told him.
Yeah. You can see why she did it, but
I understand why she did it, but equally, she was just gone, well, I've got a plan. What?
Yeah, why did she have to tell him he was doing it for free?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You knew it was going to trip her up later, but anyway.
And it did, massively. So he tells her he loves her. She thanks him for that. She doesn't return the words. And instantly, in the very next scene after that cuts away, she's fucking Kelly.
She is, yeah.
She's doing the naughty with old Justin Bartha. She's done that because she needs money and he's got money. And as soon as they're finished, they're kind of wiping themselves off. And
yeah, she dismounts.
She does. And then she says, "Can I borrow some money?" And he's like,
yeah.
"How much money do you need?" And it turns out she asks him for 13 grand for the lawyer and 4 grand for the dealer.
Yeah.
So she wants to borrow 17 grand off him. And he's like, "We can't do that. I can't give you that sort of money, but I can help you out here."
He's like, "I've got an idea."
Yeah, I've got a big plan. And he helps her sell the rest, but at extortionate prices. And
yeah, and they throw a rave.
Yes, they do.
But I presume they're charging quite a lot for entry to this.
It seemed like a lot of money was changing hands and drugs were changing hands. And she's really happy. And
it's a captive audience, isn't it? So they've thrown this party. They're clearly charging for people to get in, and they're flogging
drugs as well.
The drugs.
She's so happy at this party that she gets her boobs out and just shows them to everybody.
But again, she has no self-control. She is, if she was mullered the last time, she is. I don't even know if there's a word for it.
She's mortal.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's running around this club with her boobs out. She's not even got a top on. She's just super excited.
With huge wads of cash.
I wonder what you're going to say then. Yeah, it turns out they've made 24 grand.
Yeah, more than enough.
Problem solved. Much more than enough. Problem solved. Everybody's happy. So happy, in fact, that the next scene happens.
I'll sit back and let you describe this.
How do you describe something like this in a film?
I did the nipple squeezing. It's your turn.
Okay, fair enough. Kelly and Leah and a other girl. I think it was the same girl who was his PA earlier.
It was it. So it's. I think her name was Alexa. She works in the magazine office. She's the lady who interrupted them in the office.
Yes.
Near the start.
So obviously Leah's really happy. They're all really happy people at this point.
They are all completely fucked up.
Yes, completely fucked up. They sneak off to a secluded corner of this club, and Kelly retrieves his penis out of his trousers. Leah basically does a line off it.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can... That is exactly what happened.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Then both girls get down and do more lines off it, and then sex things happen. They're sex people, Lynn. And a lot of shit starts to go down at this point. Then, all of a sudden, Leah passes out.
Yeah, she spews up over Kelly.
She does.
On his shirt.
She throws up on his junk.
Appendage.
Apparently it was fake as well. It was in the IMDb trivia notes that it wasn't his real one. Probably a good thing. Yeah, she passes out on the floor. Those two, they look like they're going off to get help, but I think they just left.
It's nice to have hobbies, though, isn't it?
Definitely. It got to the stage where she couldn't do anymore. She had done quite a lot. They leave her. The two, Kelly and this other girl, leave her, and it looked like they were going to try and go and get help, but I don't think they did.
No,
I think they just left her there.
I don't think it was greatly edited, because they did sort of say, "Oh, are you okay? Come on," and it did look like they'd helped her up.
Yeah, but in the very next scene, she wakes up and she's alone, and she's still in this club, and it's completely empty.
Yeah.
However, she does not have the money.
No,
the money is not there. So she rushes back to Kelly's house or Kelly's apartment. He also does not have the money. The money is gone. But Kelly and Alexa... Oh, shit,
they are completely blasé.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They could not care less.
I know, well, yeah, they're not the ones with the debts, but he's just like, well, there's only money, let's get to work.
Yeah, going to work. And that's the end of it.
And Leah just screams.
Yeah,
she's obviously...
she's gone from one extreme to the other. She had too much money to now not having any.
In my mind, I've decided that they've took it off her.
Yes, me too.
Because I think that makes this movie more interesting.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right.
That they've absolutely took her for a ride.
Literally.
She passed out. Yeah. Then she passed out
during the ride.
And yeah. And they took the 24 grand.
Yeah, I think that's what you were supposed to assume. That's what I assumed. But who knows?
Yeah.
It never tells you where this money went.
She doesn't. No, it doesn't, and it's not important.
It's not.
Well, yeah, it does.
But it is important, but it's not important.
Yeah, it's not the driver, is it?
Not anymore, no.
Do you think it needed that? Maybe we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah, okay.
Did it need that sort of... It's something to think about, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Did it need them to be more direct villains? Possibly. Anyway, we'll get...
She goes to see the lawyer. She starts crying at the lawyer because she's basically says...
He's like, where's my money?
Yeah, and she's like, look, I haven't got that sort of money. You were stupid to think I had got that sort of money. Can we work out some sort of other arrangement? And eventually she walks out crying, and he calls her back, and he's like, look, we can do something. There's something we can do here. So he takes her out for a drink, and they share a few glasses of wine and a few glasses of whiskey.
Yeah, and he, the lawyer, I think he's called George, we learn at this point.
I think he does.
Sort of, this is the point where she goes through the system is fucked up. You know, it's rigged against people,
especially
like
people like Blue. Yeah.
Yeah, with your background, both sort of in society and ethnically. And he's like, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know.
Yeah.
You're a clever girl.
And he says to her, look, forget about the money. I'll work some magic. We'll make this work. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. He basically says, I like him. I like you.
We'll do this.
Yeah.
We'll get this thing
sorted.
sorted. We'll work it out. And so they go back to her apartment, her and the lawyer. And they start doing some drugs together.
Of course.
Because everybody does drugs in this film, even the lawyer man. She falls asleep on the couch. And then the bad shit goes down.
Yeah.
He notices that she's fallen asleep. And he rapes her. You can't go around it.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible. The film's even ashamed of it. Because the way it's filmed, as it's about to happen, the camera pans back. And for a split second, it hides behind a wall. And then it comes back. And it's shot through the reflection on the door. So the filmmakers don't even want to show you it happening. I thought it was really effective. The fact that even your film is ashamed that this is happening, but it's happening. And you only see it through the reflections. I thought it was a really nice bit of cinematography.
Yeah, it was well shot.
It was obviously a horrible thing to watch, but it was really well shot. A little bit later on, Katie comes home. She finds Leah throwing up in the bathroom. I think it's pretty obvious what's happened. They end up having a shower together and just crying, hugging each other naked on the floor of the shower. She then spends the next 10 minutes just lying on her bed, avoiding everything, avoiding everybody.
I think we're supposed to say, this is a few days.
This is time passing. Yeah,
she's
the phone's ringing constantly.
Withdrawn completely
from society. Yeah, she's lying on her bed. Her phone's constantly ringing. The door's going off downstairs all the time. Somebody's desperately trying to get hold of her. And then,
Katie says, doesn't she? She says, "Your mum keeps ringing me.
Yeah.
I've just told her you'll ring her back. You're not very well."
Yeah. And then we find out who has been trying to get hold of her because Blue shows up at the bottom of the bed.
Yeah.
He's just there. And she can't quite believe it. She thinks it's a dream to start with, but they end up hugging. He cries his eyes out at this point. And it turns out, they go up to the roof, don't they? And they have a bit of a chat. And it turns out the lawyer turned up for the case. And
yeah, Blue outright says, that lawyer saved my life.
Yeah, saved my life. Yeah, he does say that. And he's like, he thanks her so much for finding him and getting him to work for free. All the time, Leah obviously knowing what the consequences and the price of that ended up being. And then he says, I want to marry you. And he proposes. He gets down on one knee and he proposes to her.
And it's quite interesting that we don't see her say yes.
We never see her say yes, no. She's very conflicted to start with, then they kiss, and then in the next scene you see them kind of walking together through the streets of New York, so it's obvious he has said yes, but you never see that happen. I noticed that as well.
I think that's an interesting choice.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So we're getting right towards the end of the film now. They walk off together, they are all happy, they're all loved up, they stop, have a bit of a kiss, and suddenly something smacks Blue around the back of the head,
Sure.
Leah sees it coming because it's Lloyd, and Leah sees him coming from her perspective, and he knocks Blue to the floor, and then he grabs Leah around the throat again, and he just wants his money back, or he wants his drugs back.
Sure.
Blue, whilst he's down on the floor, grabs a glass bottle and he glasses Lloyd on the head, and then beats the living shit out of him with a wrench.
Yeah, which I think is maybe what Lloyd swung at him.
It was. Lloyd hit him with the wrench to start with and dropped it.
Yeah, but Blue just goes to town on him, and he caves his head in. Basically.
Completely, yeah. Blue...
Cue sirens.
Blue sirens, blue and red sirens. Please turn up. The last thing that Blue says to Leah is, "Did you not give it back to him?"
Yeah.
And he realises at that point that she obviously didn't give it back. And whilst he's sitting in the back of the car, he looks out of the car window at her and he looks like he hates her. There's pure hatred in his eyes.
Yeah.
Because
this is your fault.
This is your, yeah, and it really was that. And it was a completely different look to anything he'd ever given to her before. But this is all on her. And then the film cuts away, and the final scene is Leah sitting in a college classroom on her own. She's clearly got no friends. All the other people in the college are grouped up.
The rest of them are sort of filing in, aren't they? And
college
but
sophomores.
Then as the camera pans back,
she's just
the rest of the class start to talk to each other and pair off.
It's
and
almost like she's invisible.
Yeah,
she's just sitting there on her own.
Yeah, sure.
And then the film ends.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nick?
Do you know what? I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I definitely had some issues with it, but I was really invested in it. And I thought there were a couple of good performances.
There definitely were some good performances. The guy who played Blue was brilliant.
He was very good. And I was really amused by the industrial amount of drugs that were going on.
There was a lot of drugs going on.
For 90 minutes, yeah, it went at a pace. It has got a lot of issues with it. But it was fine. I did enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. It started to drag a little bit towards the end. I'm like, something needs to happen here, but I didn't hate it. I don't know if I could say I enjoyed it, but I didn't hate it.
No, I would say I did enjoy it actively. It's decent. I like the performances.
It's decent. The guy who played Blue was really good. The girl who played Leah was good as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say anybody...
I knew it was going to end badly, but I wasn't sure how it was going to end badly.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was always,
what point this was going to all fall apart.
There was never going to be a happy ending. And it's kind of a good thing that it didn't. We've had a tweet about this film from my friend and yours, Alex. He's actually seen this film.
Okay.
Do you want to know what he thinks?
Yes, always.
He's put, bottom of the stream, I finally picked a film I have seen. Watched White Girl last year based on one actor who was in it for about 10 minutes. It turns out that was the guy who played Kilo for some reason. He goes on these things of watching films just for one particular person that's in it. One of the most meh films I have ever watched. I didn't care about what happened at the end and sort of what happens when all the characters are unlikable. So,
this was one of my big issues. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, it is pretty meh. And
I thought that Leah was unlikable.
Yeah.
Because there was two key moments that led to that, really. So, like I said, there was I'm going blank. The lie she told about the lawyer to Blue, that the lawyer was working for free, and then just I was then totally switched off by the fact that she just lost his money.
Yeah,
it just didn't quite ring true to me.
Agreed.
That you would lack that self-control. I didn't particularly care for her character. I did really like Blue. I thought that he had an interesting arc.
I agree. I thought he was the best
I think this movie was too quick to be meh, to be honest. It went there was that much going on, and yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There was always something to keep you interested.
Certainly compared to some of the other stuff we have to watch on here.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's always the curve I grade it on, is against other bottom of the stream movies, not against
proper movies,
normal movies. Yeah,
I think some of the big impact scenes fell a little bit flat for me. The rape scene, whilst it was filmed really well, didn't really. It's going to sound really horrible, but didn't really make me feel sympathetic towards her.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming and it felt bolted on. The lawyer didn't seem like that kind of guy for the rest of the film. Does that make sense? And then that just happened because it had to happen.
Yes.
And
I think it probably would have had more impact if there had been a bit more interaction between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because he very much wasn't in this movie much. The
fact that he was suddenly there doing drugs with her was like, I remember sitting up going, oh, why is he doing the drugs? He was like a big city lawyer. It just felt a bit odd. And so that made the rape scene fall a little bit flat to me, although it was filmed amazingly, I thought. And then the ending, it needed an ending, like it couldn't have a happy ending. But I don't know, it just didn't quite work for me.
I think it was, again, the abruptness of it. So
just come out of nowhere.
From him coming back into the room to the end of the movie, I think it was about 4 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. And Lloyd hadn't been in it for about half an hour at that point. I'd completely forgotten about him. And I know you were supposed to, and there was supposed to be a big shock when he does come back and make that final scare, the final scare probably.
Again, I think I was still processing the fact that Blue was back, and then it was, well, that's it.
He's gone again.
You've had your 10 minutes together.
And he's gone again.
It's like,
Agreed.
Yeah. So again, that was
it has its issues. It's all right for a 90-minute film.
Understandable issue. But it's not necessarily one you watch for fun, is it?
No,
but,
not at all.
Yeah, as a, like I say, on our curve, I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. There was no point in this where I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I wish this would hurry up and end.
No, agreed. There wasn't, to be fair. There really wasn't. Do you want to talk stream table?
Sure.
Where am I thinking? Where am I looking?
I'm really not sure.
Am I, to be fair?
I mean, my gut feeling is
mid-table.
Table. So I don't really know where you want to start from.
Shall I start from last week? Shall I start from 16? So Red Dot was 16. Okay. Are you higher than that?
Okay, I'm not sure.
Oh, really? Okay, do you want me to go lower?
Go 20.
20. Malevolence 20.
Up. Okay.
Life Force is 9. Life Force seems ages ago.
That does seem a long time ago.
So Life Force is 19. Deadcon is 18. iBoy is 17. Red Dot is 16. So you're not above Red Dot.
No, I think I might be. Keep going a bit more.
Results is 15. 14 is Hungerford. Keep going, or you in there somewhere?
I don't know. If I think I'm about the same place I was last week.
Somewhere around Results.
Yeah, I think I liked Results more.
So you're going below Results, above Red Dot?
I think so. That feels about right to me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm in that sort of ballpark, definitely. I think it's definitely better than Red Dot. I had a lot more negative things to say about Red Dot than I do about this. Results, I'm not that high on anyway. I don't think it's as good as Hungerford. So it's whichever side of Results it goes on for me.
They're very different, aren't
they? They couldn't be more different. I think this is better than Results.
It's just personal opinion, isn't it? Because I think it's slightly worse.
But we were split on Results anyway.
Yeah. So
how do we decide where it goes?
I don't know who won last time. Are you gentlemanly stepping aside? I can't remember. I can't remember the last one that.
I think it was Red Dot. Didn't we have this same argument about Results last week?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I will step aside then for you, and we'll put it below Results.
Okay.
So it will be 15th in the stream table.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
sounds
that's
about right.
Reasonable. Yeah.
How do you want to turn the tide on it?
I think I need more of some of these characters.
Yeah, agreed.
I get this is a movie about Leah, and we're seeing it from her perspective, but I think I'd be interested to see a couple of scenes with the lawyer when he's visiting Blue.
Yeah. I think I would. The one.
I think you. Go on, sorry.
All I was going to say is less sex, more character building was what I would do.
Or both. Just
there were sex scenes in there that didn't need to be in there. They were just done for shock value. And I think if, like you say, if you put that a scene between Blue and the lawyer in there, and maybe one more scene between lawyer and Leah in there. Make him a bit more creepier, maybe, with her, because that rape came out of nowhere.
I think I'm repacing the end a little bit as well.
I'd like to see 5 more minutes on the end.
A bit of breathing room in between Blue turning back up at her flat and then the ending happening would go a long way. I think.
Maybe a couple of scenes of Lloyd trying to track him down or something, or
because the last scene where you quite rightly say when he's boring holes through her is not the first time she's anyway. It's great acting. You
can tell there's hatred in his eyes in that final scene, and it really affected me. I was like, oh wow, we went from loving her to hating her in minutes just because she didn't give them drugs back. And I could have done with a bit more of that, and you'd have got a bit more of that if you'd have had a bit more of a build up to that ending.
Sure.
So yeah, I'd say that more character building, a little bit less sex for me. Too much naughty. Right, shall we pick next week's film?
Let's do it.
So next week's the Bottom of the Stream Season 4 finale, as you well know.
I do well know.
One of us still hasn't played their wild card for this season.
Sure shit ain't me.
It's me. It wasn't intentional to leave it for the finale until about 4 weeks ago, and I thought, well, I'm going to leave it till the finale now. Which puts a little bit of pressure on me to pick a film that's finale worthy and also wildcard worthy.
Yeah, this means you've either got to go something you're quite confident is going to be good, or something you're quite confident is going to be an absolute shit show. Either way, I'm excited.
Good. I'm glad you're excited. I've picked something that I believe is going to be good, but is also going to be an absolute shit show.
Okay. Best of both worlds.
Absolutely the best of both worlds. The one thing we've lacked recently in this show is fun. So what I have decided for my wild card for Season 4 of Bottom of the Stream is a film called Funhouse Massacre.
Oh.
What? What's the matter, Nick? Why was that? What was that reaction for?
Yeah, well, it's... Okay, I'm not surprised. It's up your alley, isn't it?
100%. As soon as I saw this film on Netflix, I was like, yeah, this is a wild card.
Is it clowns? Is it a clown film?
I believe there's a clown in it, yes.
Okay.
Do you want to know the synopsis?
Yes, please.
It says, 6 of the world's scariest psychopaths escape from a local asylum and proceed to unleash horror on the unsuspecting crowd of a Halloween funhouse, whose themed mazes are inspired by their various reigns of terror.
This is going to be like that game. What's that game you made me play on the VR?
Oh, Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Do you want to know who the top billed cast member in this film is? However, I don't believe he's going to be in it a lot. I think it's a cameo, but I think because of the name, he gets the top billing.
I mean, I'm shocked there's a name in it, so yeah.
Big name. Big name in horror. Big name in horror movies. Robert Englund's in this film.
Cool.
So
that makes me more interested.
He's top bill cast on IMDb, but I think he's going to be a cameo. I think they've just top billed him because of the name. Yeah, so Robert Englund's in it. There's various other people in it, but it looks amazing. I'm really excited for it. Are you as excited as I am for it?
Sure. It's finale, and yeah, it's going to be fun.
The 100th film we've ever seen on Bottom of the Stream is going to be The Funhouse Massacre.
What a way for us to finish
Season 4.
Series.
Season 4, 100th film. Horror institution Robert Englund in a film. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited. I can't see how I don't win the stream table.
I'm still here. I'm just not responding to that.
So yeah, go and check out Funhouse Massacre. It's my wild card for Season 4. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter and Letterboxd, all at BOTS_podcast. Facebook.com/bottom of the stream for the Facebook page. The email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com. The website is bottomofthestream.com. On the website, you will find every episode we've ever recorded. You'll find all 4 season stream tables. There's loads of other cool stuff on there. The Botskas from last year's information's on there. And you can buy some merch if you want to. Check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/bottomofthestream. On there, for a couple of quid every month, you can get some bonus episodes, early access to episodes, Nick writes the newsletter every month, and if you come in at the right level, you'll get a wild card, which is the same thing that I've just played right now. And also come and check us out on Discord. We're having some fun chats on Discord recently, and it'd be really good to have you in there with us. So the Discord link will be at the bottom of the show notes.
Yeah, the other thing you could do that would really help us out is leave us a review anywhere you can review podcasts. That could be Podchaser, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other pod app you might use. It really helps bump us up the charts and helps with our algorithm.
It really does.
You could even write a review in white powder. Don't do that. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. You're doing flour or something. But then don't snort it.
Yeah, I've got
don't
some of that.
Flour. That'd be horrible.
I know.
Cool, yeah, so do that and then check out Funhouse Massacre, and we'll come back for the season 4 finale of Bottom of the Stream next Monday. See you then.
Cheers.
Bye.